Stephen Colbert is an American actor, comedian, producer, writer, political commentator, and television host. Born May 13, 1964, age 60 years, Washington, D.C. Spouse Evelyn McGee Colbert, M. 1993. Children Peter Colbert, Madeline Colbert, John Colbert. Siblings Elizabeth Colbert Bush, Paul Colbert, Peter Colbert. Education Northwestern University School of Communication, 1984 to 1986. See more. Height 5'11". Stephen Colbert net worth $75 million. Early life and education. Colbert was born in Washington, D.C., the youngest of 11 children, James III, Edward, Mary, William, Margot, Thomas, Jay, Elizabeth, Paul, and Peter, in a Catholic family. Then he lived for a few years in Bethesda, Maryland. Next, he grew up in James Island, an island and a suburb of Charleston, South Carolina. His father, James William Colbert Jr., was an immunologist and medical school dean at Yale University, St. Louis University, and at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. From 1969, James Colbert Jr. was the school's first vice president of academic affairs. Colbert's mother, Lorna Elizabeth Colbert, née Tuck, was a homemaker. In interviews, Colbert has described his parents as devout people who nevertheless strongly valued intellectualism, and taught their children it was possible to question the church and still be Catholic. He has said his father was interested in French humanist writers including Léon Bloy and Jacques Maritain, while his mother was fond of Catholic worker movement leader Dorothy Day. Regardless, Colbert recalls having a pretty conservative upbringing, with his mother voting for a Democrat, John F. Kennedy, exactly once in her life. In an interview, his mother has described him as rambunctious. As a child, he observed that Southerners were often depicted as being less intelligent than other characters on scripted television. To avoid that stereotype, he taught himself to imitate the speech of American news anchors. Colbert sometimes jokingly claims that his surname is French. His ancestry, though, is actually 15/16 Irish, and one of his paternal great-great-grandmothers was of German and English descent. Many of his ancestors emigrated from Ireland to North America in the 19th century before and during the Great Famine. Originally, his surname was pronounced /Colbert/Kohlbrt in English. Colbert's father, James, wanted to pronounce the name /Colbert/Colbert, but maintained the /Colbert/ pronunciation out of respect for his own father. He offered his children the option to pronounce the name whichever way they preferred. Colbert started using /Colbert/ later in life when he transferred to Northwestern University, taking advantage of the opportunity to reinvent himself in a new place where no one knew him. Colbert's brother Edward, an intellectual property attorney, retained /Colbert/. This was shown in a February 12, 2009, appearance on the Colbert Report, when his second oldest brother asked him, /Colbert/ or /Colbert/? Ed responded, /Colbert/, to which he jokingly replied, "See you in hell." On September 11, 1974, when Colbert was 10 years old, his father and his brothers Paul and Peter, who were closest to him in age, died in the crash of Eastern Airlines Flight 212 while attempting to land in Charlotte, North Carolina. They were en route to enroll Paul and Peter at Canterbury School in New Milford, Connecticut. He has discussed the impact the tragedy has on him and his philosophy of grief and suffering. Lorna Colbert moved the family from James Island to the George Chisholm House in downtown Charleston, and she ran the carriage house as a bed and breakfast. Colbert found the transition difficult and did not easily make friends in the new neighborhood. Later, he described himself during this time as being detached, lacking a sense of importance regarding the things with which other children concerned themselves. "Nothing made any sense after my father and my brothers died. I kind of just shut off," he recalled. He developed a love of science fiction and fantasy novels, especially the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, of which he remains an avid fan. Colbert says two of his favorite chapters in The Lord of the Rings are The Shadow of the Past and The Council of Elrond. During his adolescence, he developed an intense interest in fantasy role-playing games, especially Dungeons & Dragons. a pastime which he later characterized as an early experience in acting and improvisation. Colbert attended Charleston's Episcopal Porter God School, participating in several school plays and contributing to the school newspaper, but he was not highly motivated academically. During his adolescence, he briefly fronted A Shot in the Dark, a Rolling Stones cover band. When he was younger, he had hoped to study marine biology, but surgery intended to repair a severely perforated eardrum caused him inner ear damage severe enough to preclude a career involving scuba diving, and leaving him deaf in his right ear. For a while, he was uncertain whether he would attend college, but eventually he applied and was accepted to Hampton-Sydney College in Virginia, where a friend had also enrolled. Arriving in 1982, he majored in philosophy and continued to participate in plays. He found the curriculum to be rigorous, but was more focused than he had been in high school and was able to apply himself to his studies. Despite the lack of a significant theater community at Hampton-Sydney, Colbert's interest in acting escalated during this time. After 2 years, he transferred in 1984 to Northwestern University as a theater major to study performance, emboldened by the realization that he loved performing, even when no one was coming to shows. He graduated from Northwestern School of Communication in 1986. Personal life. Colbert is a practicing Roman Catholic who has taught Sunday school at church. He is an ordained minister with the Universal Life Church Monastery. He is an avid reader and his favorite authors include J.R.R. Tolkien, J.D. Salinger, Robertson Davies, George Saunders, Larry Niven, Henry Kuttner, and Isaac Asimov. Colbert used the Myers-Briggs type indicator during a segment of The Late Show, which identified him as an INFP. Family. Colbert has been married to Evelyn Evie McGee Colbert since 1993. She is the daughter of prominent Charleston civil litigator Joseph McGee, of the firm Buist Moore Smythe McGee. His wife appeared with him in an episode of Strangers with Candy as his mother. She also had an uncredited cameo as a nurse in the series pilot and a credited one, as his wife Claire, in the film. McGee met Jon Stewart before she met her future husband in 1990. They met at the world premiere of Hydrogen Jukebox at the Spoleto Festival USA in Charleston. Colbert later described the first moment he met Evie as being a love-at-first-sight encounter. Moments after they met, though, they realized they had grown up together in Charleston and had many mutual friends. The couple lives in Montclair, New Jersey, and have 3 children.